In a mythical land of magic beasts and blades known as Burbank, California, an independent podcast network sets off for the greatest adventure of their pitiful lives. This is Dungeons and Dragon Wagon.
Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Rhyme or Reason, a D&D inspired homebrew role-playing game recorded and released out into the world for your entertainment. My name is Jake Lloyd. You can find me on Twitter at LiquidJake, on Instagram at Jake Lloyd, and I am playing the half-orc fighter Junk. Say hi, Junk. How's it going, little buddy? It's going great, because I'm playing Dungeons & Dragon Wagon. And as always, my associates in adventure, to my left, she's a friend of the animals, writer, poet, and all-around delight. Find her on Twitter and Instagram at Alexandra Hoy. It's Alexandra Hoy.
Well, hello.
How's everything going?
Most excellently.
Ooh, so proper.
Yes.
It's probably that sort of proper attitude that led you to play the human ranger Adeline. Say hi, Adeline.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing delightful.
That's great.
And to her left, he is the man with no foe. He is as tall as he is great at telling riddles. Follow him on Twitter.
So not very tall.
Follow him on Twitter at Matt_Hingstman, on Instagram at mhingstman. It is Matthew Hingstman. Hey, Matt.
Hi.
How's it going, bud?
Good.
Yeah?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, you said that this is the first time you've really had to listen to your own voice back to you.
Yeah, at length. Yeah. And now I'm starting, anytime you hear your voice recorded, you hate it. You're like, I don't really sound like that. And now I'm starting to come to terms with it.
I think you sound incredible. You know who else I think sounds incredible? The Shadow Elf Rogue Matson. Say hi, Matson.
Hi.
Matson, I guess I gotta say, you are one of the most complex characters I've ever met. I don't know whether you're hot or cold, you're cool with it, or super emotional. You're hard to pin down.
Good, I like it that way.
And back with us again, our guest of Quest for the second time. She is an actress, a producer, and all-around magical being. No stranger to RPGs. You know her from Geek and Sundry shows like Vast, Shield of Tomorrow, Tempting Fate on Saving Throw, and the podcast Plunders and Blunders, and so much more. You can find her on Twitter and Twitch at Pocket Gina, and Instagram at Kitty Hawk. It is Gina DeVivo.
Hello.
How you doing, Gina?
I'm great. I've got tea.
You've got tea, and that's
Thank you.
that's the prerequisite.
That's all I need to be happy.
So you dove into this character last week.
I did.
And I feel like you really took to it.
I enjoyed it. I changed my voice a couple times, but then I found it.
Do you feel like there's a little bit of you in Asteria?
Of course.
Yeah?
There's a little bit of me and all of the many things that I play.
I thought you were going to say there's a little bit of me in everything. And I was like, wow, is she God? Did we just hate God? And
spoilers.
We'll now hand it off to the man who created these lands. He is the fearless dungeon master and host of the fantastic podcast Myth Understood. Follow him on Instagram at the Paul Bianchi. It is the Paul Bianchi.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is me. So, interestingly enough, I was wondering where I got Asteria's name from, and I was looking at a whole bunch of names of nymphs because we just recorded the Myth Understood episode about nymphs. And there are two nymphs named Asteria, and they are both well known for their undying loyalty that they have for their father.
Oh. And you said that was entirely unintentional?
Unintentional.
Wow.
It's just like,
really?
Was it
Perfect.
Was it in the research for the Myth Understood episode?
No.
Oh.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
Asteria was one of 40 daughters who all threw themselves to their death after their dad was killed. And
the patriarchy, am I right, guys?
yeah, Greek mythology is just full of delightful things.
Indeed.
Well, I'm really excited to dive back in exactly where we left off. We are going to continue with chapter 4.2, The Goddess with Two Faces. So away we go. Reshkoth Cemetery was once undisturbed ground, home to the remains of dishonored men and women. Thieves, murderers, arsonists, and rogue mages were buried with unremarkable headstones before the mausoleum of famed Sibyllin war criminal Scalara Vesh. Today, the cemetery is littered with bodies that found their way to the surface due to a necromantic spell. It smells like death, smoke, and rot. Perhaps worse, it's begun to rain. You are making your way towards the abandoned groundskeeper's hut, where you hope to gather your bearings before continuing on.
Oh, great. It's unlocked. Come on, everyone. Let's get inside. Get out of the rain.
As soon as you enter the groundskeeper's hut, you see everything that there is to see. To your left, there is a small dining table with 2 chairs, and there is some blood on the dining table. Additionally, there is a covered cake plate, and next to it, there is a note. In the far corner of the room, there is a cabinet. Straight ahead of you, there is a fireplace. The fireplace is out right now. There is a pitchfork, a shovel, and a pickaxe leaning up near the fireplace. In the right-hand corner, there is a bed with more blood. And to the right, there is a bookshelf.
Aside from all the blood, this place is quite cozy.
I'm going to go look for some dry firewood.
You were able to find firewood quite easily. It is right next to the fireplace as well.
Well, that's convenient.
I wonder what this note says.
When you open the note, you find flowery handwriting that says, Wendell, thanks again for treating me like a human being. Hope you like raisins. Heart, Marina.
Raisins.
I don't know. I kind of like raisins. They're pretty tasty.
Wait, did that say treating me like a human being?
Yes. Women aren't always treated equally, Junk.
That could mean so many things in this magical world.
Unless she was not human.
Can I investigate to see how long this blood's been dried here?
For sure. Roll for investigation.
Nice.
That's a 20. Tell me about this blood.
Yeah, so either due to previously undisclosed investigation skills or just because you're a blood mage and you know blood, you're able to lean down and see that this blood is fairly fresh. Whoever is the owner of this blood, he shed this blood 4 hours ago.
Oh.
Asteria bends down, touches the blood with her hand, brings it up to her face and rubs her fingers together. It's quite fresh.
What do you think happened here? Any idea?
I'm not sure.
Miss Blood Mage Lady, would you mind putting that dry fire in the fireplace? I can light it up real quick.
That was my intention before I got distracted by the blood. Forgive me.
Excellent.
I want to go over and help her with that.
There's a grate to hold wood, and just as Orny promised, he rolls a good survival check, and he's able to light a fire pretty quickly.
As they're lighting this fire, Junk walks over to the cabinet that you had mentioned.
Yes.
And I want to investigate the cabinet.
Inside the cabinet, you find a sack of old potatoes and a half-eaten rotten pie.
Hey, guys, I found a pie! Oh, this looks totally perfectly fine.
Does it have raisins in it?
These things look like raisins. Whatever they are.
You're correct, they are raisins.
Not like a delicious raisin pie. I guess while we're kind of shifting the fire, me and Asteria, I can't imagine what it must have been like to do that to your own brother. Are you feeling all right?
Honestly, at the moment, I'm not sure if I feel anything other than emptiness.
Well, if you need anything, all of us are here for you.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Hey, there's also potatoes!
Why don't you set the table? I'm going to have a look around and see if someone else who's lurking around and maybe stealing things. Watson, you're quite good at that. Maybe you can help.
Absolutely.
So you leave the cabin. It's raining rather heavily. Walking around the perimeter in the rain, a lot of the telltale signs of more clearly of what could have happened have been mostly washed away at this point. But you do see a shoe that belongs to a man and a little bit more blood just sort of in the grass going off towards the river.
Should we follow it?
I suppose, but it is quite wet outside and the river will be flowing quite heavily at the moment.
Near the shore, there are footprints that don't look human, accompanying the drag marks. These footprints look reptilian to you.
Oh, I recognize these footprints.
What is it?
My father, he used to read me stories of creatures that used to inhabit this land. They were called Sibyllins, and they were nearly entirely run out of King's Promise by the humans. A few of the more violent ones sometimes act out against us. Take what's owed them. I can't imagine they'll be back. They seem to have gotten what they came for.
All right, let's go back.
As they're out doing this, Junk has set the table with a half-eaten old pie and raw potatoes because he doesn't understand setting a table.
I don't correct him because I'm too polite.
And then after he does this, he goes over and investigates that bookshelf that is still remaining in the room.
The fire is picked up. Everything's very well illuminated at this point. You can find a tin of chewing tobacco, a book on bird watching, and there is a collection of interesting rocks.
I'm going to pick up the chewing tobacco.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to examine it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to open the can.
Yeah, it's about half filled.
I'm going to take a little pinch of it. Smell it. This still smells good?
Yes. Good.
All right,
Chewing tobacco.
So then I just throw it in my mouth and I just swallow it.
Oh, Junk, that's gross.
What? Is that not what you're supposed to do?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, chewing tobacco is for chewing.
Yeah, you just
wait, does this say chewing on it? And I hold the can up to Orny.
Yes.
Very
it says
clearly.
chewing. Yes.
yeah, you
Hey, look at this book. And then I grab the bird watching book and I just start browsing through it.
Matson and Asteria enter, and I look at the table and say, Junk, why'd you cook the potatoes?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I look around for a knife and start cutting them up?
Don't you have daggers?
I'm not using my nice daggers to
they
cook
have
with.
zombie
They're for
blood
cutting.
on them.
Well, actually, there's a cake knife right underneath the dome on the cake plate. That's actually a fairly fresh cake. Orny cuts himself a slice of cake, puts it in his hand. It over-encompasses his hand, and he walks over to the bed and just starts eating that. And he leaves the knife stuck in the table for you guys.
So while Matson and Asteria have been out and Junk has been eating tobacco, Adeline has taken the liberty of cleaning up the bloody mess and throwing away the rotten pie that Junk had earlier placed on the table. Just to keep things a little fresh since we're probably going to stay here for the night.
Hey, Matson. Hey, check out this book I found.
What is it? Oh, I don't want to see that.
Is it something gory?
No, it's just a book about birds.
Oh.
This one's called a cuckoo bird. Oh my God, guys, check this out. Do you know what cuckoo birds do? Cuckoo birds lay eggs that look like other birds' eggs, and then they leave them in the other bird's nest. And then when that little baby cuckoo bird is born, it says here that it murders the other baby birds and fools the mom into raising it.
That's pretty cuckoo.
Yeah, cuckoo birds ain't nothing to mess with.
Orny, what's our next move here?
Well, it's raining quite heavily, and it would appear that we're about halfway to Misty Cross, at least to my knowledge. So perhaps we should just stay the night and wash zombie guts from our garments and wake up and continue on.
Asteria has taken the liberty of, she is now rummaging through the kitchen and she's gathering pots and pails of water and that and the like, and she has started making stew with the potatoes. Yes, I think that's a wise decision.
So we all sit and enjoy stew and cake, and Junk eats a bit more tobacco.
You know, Matson, we haven't seen your ghost friend in a while.
Right, that.
You have a ghost friend?
Kind of.
Explain.
There's a legend in our culture, the tale of a great warrior, Terevin. During a terrible siege of our homelands, she was the sole survivor of a wiped-out garrison. Even though she was outnumbered and not matched, she alone slaughtered hordes of enemies, single-handedly held back their advance. When backup finally arrived, she was found surrounded by over 1,000 dead.
Wow.
Yeah. And when they examined her body, they didn't find any cuts or stabs or blunt trauma. It was only exhaustion that brought her down. She fought with every ounce of her body and her soul. Now, it's said once in a generation, her spirit will return to aid a shadow elf in great need and guide them in their mission. If I'm right, I am that shadow elf. However, it's also said when this mission is achieved, she asks for a gift in return. And if the tales are to be believed, that gift is never as simple as a bag of silver coins or a hearty meal. She is called Terevin the Untouched, Terevin the Merciless.
That is quite a remarkable friend to have on your side.
She's indeed been helpful. Still not a great feeling thinking about the price I may have to pay in the future.
Well, Matson, Listen, whatever she asks of you, I assure you, we will be by your side to help you, if you let us.
You all have seen and done so much, haven't you?
We have our stories.
I suppose so.
Like what? What's your favorite?
So he reaches behind his baldric and he pulls out a small ivory pube comb.
Wait, before you continue, let me curl up in this corner of the bed so I can fall asleep and not hear this.
Good night.
Good night.
Asteria goes and throws another log on the fire. She is ready for these stories.
The party members all enjoyed sharing stories late into the evening. Asteria was especially captivated, perhaps due to her mostly sheltered life. Everyone except for Matson went to sleep. Matson stayed up to stand guard in case whatever killed Wendell returned. Junk, Adeline, Orny, and Asterian gain 2 HP of recovery. As the first to sleep, because he didn't care about your stories, Orny is the first to awaken. Whoever wakes up second will find him sitting at the table with his feet sticking straight out because these are human-sized proportioned chairs, and he is eating another slice of cake for breakfast.
Oh, good morning, Orny.
Oh, good morning.
How'd you sleep, little buddy?
Adeline kept kicking me.
Oh,
Sorry.
I think she was having a dream about running or something.
how's that cake?
It's just as good as it was last night.
Okay, I'm gonna have a little bit more of this tobacco.
I'm going to join you in that cake.
Matson's just kind of in the corner playing with his fancy new dagger.
I'm going to go see if maybe there's a wagon and a horse, or we might get lucky. I don't know.
We should all go. If we don't have such luck and must walk, then we haven't any time to waste.
Fine with me.
I'm game.
Wonderful. Then let's move out.
Junk takes the bird book off of the shelf right before he leaves. Then he looks over at the area with the pickaxe, the shovel, and the pitchfork. And he's going to walk over to the shovel.
Uh-huh.
He's going to hold it up and examine it.
It's a standard human-sized shovel specifically for digging graves.
Oh. Is it something that Junk can carry easily with the rest of my gear?
Uh-huh. Yeah, you
Okay.
can bundle up next to your warhammer. It can sit on your back.
You never know when you might need to dig a hole.
Or a grave.
And then he puts the shovel on his back and he exits the hut, whatever it is.
When you guys exit the hut, it is a uncharacteristically beautiful morning. You can actually see the sun, which is fairly rare for the area around Misty Cross. There are still bodies everywhere.
So I wander off from the party. I pick up my brother's body and I turn back towards the hut and I start bringing him inside without a word. I lay him in the fresh bed. Sorry, just a few things I needed to take care of.
I'm going to roll for perception to see if there's anything to help pull this cart, a horse, another Moorcat. Critical fail.
You look for anything that might pull the cart, but the sun is in your beautiful eyes.
Well, I guess we're walking.
So, Asteria, which direction to this hand of almond?
Well, it should be up towards the left, northwest.
Yes. When you walk out onto the main road, you happen upon 6-foot-tall, flightless birds crossing the path in front of you.
Oh my God! Wait, hang on a second, guys.
And then he pulls out his bird book that he just took, and he immediately starts rummaging through to see if he can find something that looks like the birds that he found. Do I have to roll for that?
Your ability to read a book.
My ability to find it.
It is junk.
I am gonna give you a clumsy check.
Oh, yes. Natural 20.
You whip that book out and you flip it open, and all the pages go like the nicest spread, and it lands directly on the page that you're looking for.
Nice.
As if you've opened this book many times before. You find specifically that these birds are the blue-billed northern terror birds. Aggressive when approached, specifically in groups with smaller baby birds with them. And lo and behold, this group does have small baby birds following behind.
Hey, guys, according to this book, we should probably be very quiet.
The book also notes that in rare conditions, these animals can be used in a domestic way to pull carts and wagons because they are also strong. But you have to have innate ability to befriend birds.
Look, guys, there's a picture of one of these birds pulling a cart. Is there any
Right.
chance we can get one of these birds to do that for us?
Nope. Nope.
Maybe.
Oh, Matson.
Watson, it might be our only chance at
Yeah.
finding another creature. I'm going to go give it a go.
I kind of hide behind junk. Like he's my mom.
Asteria very swiftly gets down on all fours and starts slowly crawling to them. the closer she gets, starts observing their behavior and their movements and starts mimicking the sort of shifting to sort of blend in with them.
She's good.
The closer I get, I want to start hearing the sounds that they make at each other and start imitating those. That's a 10 and a 7.
10 and a 7. That's great.
Wow.
You don't get the lead bird by any means, but straggling behind are the older betas in the group. One of them catches sight of you. It gets a twinkle in its eye. It does this bushy-tailed action that is associated with young northern terror birds when they see their mother. And it believes in this moment from the way that you're holding your body that you are its mother and is willing to follow you and also to lead you as children and their parents do.
I see that it has accepted my invitation, and I sort of open the front of my red cloak to symbolize like a mother's wing, and then beckoning it to join under the wing.
It starts to run towards you in a way that would terrify most, but it stops short right before it meets you and pushes its head against you the way cats push their head against their owners, and nuzzles against your chest.
There you are, little one. Hello. So I sort of shuffle around hugging this massive bird and look back at you all. Right, I've got one.
Great job.
Junk and Matson, maybe you can go grab the wagon and we can hitch it up to it.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
So Junk turns around and power walks towards the cart, mostly because he's afraid to run at a full clip, because now that he's read the book, he's just as afraid of these things as Matson. And he finally gets to the cart, and can I roll to see if I'm strong enough to carry it on my own, at least the distance to Asteria?
Sure, give me a athletics check.
7 plus 3.
You have enough raw strength to pull this wagon, but it would be really helpful if Matson actually joined you, like how...
rather than sit in it while he pulls it?
Hey, Matson, I totally have this on my own, but if you wanted to help, it wouldn't be bad.
All right, fine. And I reluctantly help.
All right, so we're pulling the wagon manually back towards her as she's caressing and keeping this bird peaceful.
I still let Junk do most of the work, too.
In the meantime, Adeline, give me a defense check.
4.
The bird is very comfortable with Asteria, but doesn't feel great with Orny and Adeline, and does 2 nips at Orny and Adeline and hits Adeline for 1 damage, and Orny rolled an 18, so he's fine. I guess he was too low to the ground.
Oh, shush. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. No worries.
Sorry, they're a bit,
Nippy.
terror-ish.
Yeah, it's right there in the name.
Do we get back?
Yeah, so you get back and you're able to finagle hooking up the wagon to the bird. I assume Asteria is riding the actual bird, just like she did earlier with Clarence, and the rest of us are in the cart.
Yeah, we all get in the cart behind her.
Snap the reins and we're off.
It'll take half a day to get into town. The ride hitched to a terror bird is considerably less bumpy than a moorcat, so Junk won't have to clumsy roll to stay in the cart. As the day wears on, the rolling mists and thunderstorms that you've come to associate with King's Promise have returned. Becoming more abundant among the flora is an alchemical agent called charred nettle. Orny is quick to point this out because the plant holds electrical charge from when lightning strikes the earth. Oh. He also delights in the notion that local children get shocked when they run through it barefoot.
Orny, did you want to stop and get some of this charred nettle?
Oh, that'd be quite helpful, actually.
Oh, maybe
This is the first time anyone has offered to help pick up some alchemical agents, and I am pleased as punch. Stop the bird.
Hey, Asteria.
What?
Hey, we're just a quick pit stop. 1 second.
We're stopping? Why are we stopping? Is everyone all right?
I just wanted to pick up some charred nettle.
Oh, sure. Just let me slow down, Hank. Hank, slow down.
Oh, you named him Hank?
That's a great name.
Thank you.
You gave it a name.
Hank digs his talons into the road to slow down and looks back at Asteria for approval, like, did I do good?
I coo at him.
He coos back.
As the party stops for a second, Junk hops over the side.
All right, let me know if you need a hand with that. I'm just going to be over here real quick and take a quick leak.
And I just kind of walk over to the side of the road.
Give me a clumsy check.
That's a 3.
When Junk whips out his junk to pee, you accidentally end up peeing on a nettle. The stream that you emit is just so flawlessly.
This has been days, guys.
It is such a solid stream that the electricity shoots up your urine stream and shocks you in the dick
Oh my god, guys.
for 1 damage.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
You just hear from the
what happened?
cart. Did you try peeing on it?
No, it was I just got something. I was just scared. I think I saw a snake or something. One of those giant earthworms, maybe. Oh my god.
And I kind of like put myself back together, shake it off.
I look at Asteria and I go, he peed on it.
Definitely.
As this is happening, Adeline is over just gathering some since she has gloves on, very carefully.
Give me a roll for how many you are able to pick up.
16.
16. Because you rolled a 16, you are able to pick up 16 charred nettles.
Woohoo.
But since it was a high roll, you ended up picking up 2 potent charred nettles for Orny as well.
So Adeline's very proud of herself for not getting electrocuted and walks back over to Orny. Here you go. I think I got about 16 here. These 2 in particular look very healthy.
Oh, yes. That's excellent. That's very good. This can aid in several very good potions. Among them, shock resistance, shock expulsion, even for an increased stamina. So this could work out quite nicely.
That
Thank
sounds
you.
great. Yeah,
Yes.
my pleasure.
All right, should we be on our way?
All right, is everyone back in the cart?
Yep.
Hands
Yeah.
and feet, toes and fingers?
I smell smoked sausage.
Yeah, Hank.
So it takes another hour to get into the outskirts of Misty Cross, and around that time, Hank starts to instinctively slow down a little bit as well because there is other traffic on the road. Mostly people don't pay any attention to you or avoid eye contact with you. There are a lot of peddlers and thieves on the road. Thieves don't want to mess with you. Peddlers think, hey, this is a bunch that I don't really wish to engage with anyway. As you start riding towards Misty Cross, you can see to the left, there is the town of Misty Cross, which looks very Sleepy Hollow-esque. A big wrought iron gate and people in top hats. To the right, the old town of Misty Cross and what can only be the ruins of the desecrated temple that you guys were heading towards in the first place. And as you guys are approaching this temple, you notice a wagon cart against the rocky barrier along the road that is manned by a peddler of a variety that none of you have seen before and Asteria has never seen in person before. It is a Sibyllin in the flesh, and he has a cart that sells hats.
I look back at Matson and I just go, that's a Sibyllin.
Why is he selling hats?
I suppose that's his profession.
Should we go say hi?
Might as well.
Let's do it.
You park close to him, so he knows you're going to come talk to him. And he looks stunned. Siblings look like if snakes and humans merged, and this one has sort of the patterning, the orange and white stripedness of a corn snake. And when he sees you, he is stunned first to see a terror bird driving a cart, then stunned to see a half orcan. Then he is stunned to see a shadow elf. Then he's stunned to see a gnome all the way up here. Then he sees 2 human women and he thinks, okay.
So Junk hops off the cart, peppy to see this new creature.
Hey, what do you got here?
Oh, I sell hats.
Well, Junk loves a hat. What kind of hats you got?
Did you come all this way for hats?
We're passing through town and we spotted your cart.
Oh,
It caught our eye.
right.
Why else would we be here?
Excuse me, I haven't been doing very good business here. Mother always said humans love hats, but the humans don't seem to want to buy hats from me. Let's see here. Oh, to my left, I've been working on my pitch. This one is a purple chapeau with a beautiful turquoise bow on it. Only 60 gold. To my right, I have a gray, as you call, bowler hat. It is 30 gold. We also have a black tricorner and a blue snakeskin fez. You look like you'd look good in a fez, sir.
Me? I don't know.
I'm quite fond of that bowler hat. I think that would suit you quite well, Junk.
Yeah, I mean, can I see that bowler hat?
Oh, yes, of course. Here you go.
And he takes the hat and he kind of examines the inside of it. He like punches it like really hard to like see whether or not it's sturdy.
You need to roll a clumsy check for that.
Oh!
13.
It is a well-made felt hat that does not get punched through by your fist when you do so, but you can tell it's very well made.
Ah.
What do you guys think? And he puts it on and he turns to the group.
Oh, look great.
You look great.
Well done.
Lovely.
This rain has been in my eyes. I thought maybe something with a nice little brim would do me good.
You
look
great.
like this man that I used to know in Shell's Landing, who everyone made fun of. But I think you look particularly nice in it.
He pulls out 30 golds.
And he goes, counts it out. Here you go.
Oh, thank you for your patronage.
Hey, can I ask a quick question though before that hat that you suggested to me?
Oh, the fez, yeah.
That's not weird for you to sell a hat that's made out of that.
Oh, no, I am not a snake, sir. I am a Sibylan. Snakes have been a delicacy for our people.
Oh, that's some wild and crazy stuff, man. I tell you.
Sort of a weird thing to ask. I mean, don't you eat other mammals?
He didn't hear that. He already walked on.
I remove my hood. My wife here, I want to buy her the fanciest, most expensive hat that you have.
At hearing that, Asteria instantly loops her arm under your arm and stands very wifely at your side.
Well, that would be my aforementioned purple chapeau. It is the only one I have. And you know, I think it would excellently fit your head.
Do you think it's beautiful enough for me?
I think you are a beautiful flower in this cage of a mist.
Thank you. How long have you had this shop?
I've only had it for 4 months.
4 months. Have you lived here your whole life?
No, I lived further west in a very small village. You know, the humans, they tend to push us out, but it's the way it is.
Right.
I want to roll for sense motive, see if he's telling the truth. That's a 1.
Ooh, that is the truthiest truth you've ever heard in your life.
I have read about your people, sir. I'm very sorry.
Well, we make do. Most of us, we journeyed far west from here, but the few that remain, it's still our home, you know? We can't stay away from it.
You have a wonderful attitude.
I thank you very much, miss.
I sort of squeeze Matson's arm and look up at him as if, like, what next?
I guess I'm buying this hat.
Well, that would be 60 gold, sir.
60 gold.
Oh, you don't have to do that.
For my beautiful wife, I must. And I pull out 60 gold, and then 10 more gold for you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much.
As I'm handing him the gold, I want to look at his hands, see if they're bloody or recently bruised or anything like that. 15.
They are clean as clean can be, except for the markings of someone who uses a hatting press.
Sir, I not that I want to take advantage of your kindness, but I do have additional wares. I just took notice of your armor and your weaponry. I have something that may benefit an adventurer such as yourself.
Oh.
Do any of you know what a grothlad is?
Asteria knows this, likely just from living in King's Promise. A grothlad is a traditional headgear worn by Sibyllans that allows them to breathe underwater.
It allows you to breathe underwater. It's quite a valuable item in your culture, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And thank you for the extra gold. I cannot give it to you for free, but I do have several of them, and I can do for only 5 gold. Usually my price is 15.
Wow.
I reach into my bag and I flip him the 5.
Oh, thank you.
Junk also takes a $5 and flips it out.
Ah, thank you. Thank you so much.
I walk over and hand him a 5.
Oh, thank you for touching my hand while you did so. Thank you very much.
I hand him 10.
Oh, would you like 2?
Just 1.
Just 1. Thank you so much. Say, where are you Where are you headed?
Oh, just passing through, kind sir.
Oh, we're trying to find this hand of almond.
Junk.
Right, yes, I'm leading them wet there.
I do not know what the hand of almond is.
Am I not saying that right, guys?
No, you are. And she just giggles to herself.
But I should warn you, if you are going behind me, the old temple, it is a dangerous place. And I've been stationed here for quite some time, and I saw some of the king's men, not my king, but the people from Norrens. They came here. They had with them a little girl who looked very much like you, sir.
He points to Matson.
Oh.
I had never seen a shadow elf before until I had seen this young girl. And they went into the temple. They were there for, I would say, probably 6 hours. And then they left.
When did you say this was?
7 days ago.
Thank you so much for letting me know.
Oh, of course, sir.
I put the hat on for him and model it. Thank you for your tales. And I grab his hand and hold it in mine. I pray one day your people will find peace, hopefully sooner than later.
Salavasalin, my dear.
Salavassian to you as well.
You all have an excellent day here in Misty Cross.
Thanks, you too.
They should just call it Cross because everywhere's misty around here.
Hook my arm around Matson again. Well, let's go, dear.
Matson turns back to the cart.
And then journey back and put my hand on Matson's chest. No one has ever bought me a present before. Not since. My mother used to, but I haven't had one since, so thank you.
Matson is rather distracted, and he's not only kind of half listening. He's like, oh, yeah, sure.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
You're sweating.
I think we spent enough time here. I think it's time to move on.
Oh, hey. Asteria, you got a hat too.
Yes.
Oh, that looks so good.
She does like a twirl in front of you. Really? You like it?
Yeah, what about me?
And it kind of like does the same twirl.
I've had a hat this entire time, and no one has complimented me on it.
I love your hat.
Thank you.
Well, gather in the cart. I can take it as close as we can, and then we can unhitch and investigate.
You ride in towards the temple. It's the ruins of a rectangular building of dark gray stone. There are towers at each corner, 3 of which are still standing. The front left tower has fallen, barricading the large wooden double doors with rubble. However, as the tower has fallen, there is now a great wound that one might be able to enter through by clambering over stone. Above the double doors is a large stained glass that remains relatively intact. As you ride closer, the ground becomes insurmountable by your wagon.
Oh, sorry, it's getting a bit bumpy.
It's probably best we leave the cart here and continue on by foot.
Yes.
Are we going to leave the bird?
No, I think it's quite wise. He's going to try to follow me anyway, so might as well bring him along just in case there's some thieves or bandits hiding in the temple.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, don't you, Matson?
So Junk gets out of the cart and he starts to detach it from Hank.
I want to be with Matson, like me between the bird and you, trying to calm you down. She can see that you're sort of in your head and she's misinterpreting that as just nerves. You don't have to be afraid. They're just sort of misunderstood creatures.
What's that? Oh, the bird?
The bird, yes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you.
Is there something else on your mind?
I can't help but think about the girl in the temple that the Sibyllin said he saw.
Is she of some significance to you?
She's the little girl I've been looking for.
I didn't know you were looking for a little girl.
I didn't either.
She's the reason I'm here in Rymore.
Asteria gestures at Matson's daggers and points at the bloodletting knife that her father gave him. You've been given something very special. You'll find what you're looking for.
You think so?
Things seem to come your way. You've got ghosts and magical skulls, friends. I think you're on the right path.
Maybe you're right. The path did lead me to you. I'm glad you're by my side.
Orny is scowling while this is happening, not because of what he's listening to, but because of something apparently that he is looking at. He is staring directly up towards the stained glass.
What are you looking at, buddy?
I didn't know that this was the temple we were going to.
I'm going to roll perception to get a better look at the glass. 16 plus 3?
Adeline can very clearly see the circular stained glass. In shades of red and gold, it depicts 2 female faces back to back. One beautiful, earthy, and maternal with long, flowing locks. The other demonic and frightful, with sharpened teeth and snakes for hair.
Adeline looks at the glass and immediately feels uneasy. Orny, what is this?
It is the visage of the demoness or the goddess, depending on who you ask, Rasa.
And what is Rasa known for, dare I ask?
Rasa is either a goddess of mirth, well-being, and animals, or she is a vengeance demoness.
Great.
Well, should we be on our way?
I see you're unfazed by this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid of some two-faced demon. I'm a half-orc, and people have been calling me a two-faced demon my whole life. Plus, I got this new hat, and I'm pretty sure it's going to bring me some luck.
And Junk starts walking towards the temple.
Adeline follows.
May I? Asteria gestures, waiting to hook her arm around Matson's again.
Matson nods with a smile.
The only way in is through the crumbled spire. Junk is in the lead. Your eyes have to adjust a bit as you walk inside. Can you roll for perception for me?
It's a 16.
All right. Also roll for clumsy for me.
11.
You safely walk over ruinous rocks. You definitely do that thing where you step on one of the rocks and it's off balance and your whole leg does a little waver.
A little jelly leg.
A little jelly leg as you walk over. The interior of the abandoned temple, it's set up very much like a church. There is an altar in the very back with 2 staircases on either side going up towards the altar. There is also a stairway that goes down in the middle, in between where the 2 stairs go up. Also in the very middle, there is a broken table, and there is exposed dirt beneath the tiles and holes in the dirt as well.
So I'm looking around this big space, and I yell out in Shadow Elf language, "Little one."
You hear nothing in response.
Who was she?
It'll take too long to explain right now.
So, Asteria,
Yes.
any idea where this thing we're looking for might be?
I'm not sure. Let's have a look around. Hank will be walking behind me. So I assumed Monson and I went in last after the 2 of you, and Hank is trailing behind.
I'm going to roll for my 6th sense to see if anything is hidden in the shadows.
It's an 8.
You sense that there are many things nearby.
Tread carefully. We're not alone.
And then he slowly starts to walk towards the center of the room where the broken table is to investigate it.
Roll for initiative.
Ooh.
Natural 20 for Junk.
15.
I had a 7.
I also had a 7.
Right as you walk towards the broken table, out of one of the holes in the ground, a earthworm shoots up out of the ground. It looks just like a regular earthworm as we understand them, except this is 7 feet long and has crunchy munchy teeth on one end. A second one shoots up in the middle, right in between Adeline and the entwined Matson and Asteria. A third one also pops up right next to Junk.
Nope, not okay with this.
So the second the worm pops up next to me, I spin around and in one fluid motion, I am going to reach for my warhammer and baseball bat swing sideways to try to just knock him in pure half.
Well, let's see if you actually do that.
Another natural 20
Nice.
for 5.
Well, you critical hit that earthworm that popped up for 10 damage, and you just like splatter it as you make contact with it. Guts actually end up spraying on you. Since it was a natural 20, though, you avoid your new hat.
Yeah! Told you we weren't alone.
Right after that happens, Orny was also ready. he was more alert than ever before. And
These are big worms.
He's all fired up about everybody's new hats.
Yeah. And he withdraws from his alchemical bag a poultice of frost burst. He throws the frost burst at the worm that is right in between him and where Asteria and Matson are standing. It hits the worm. It does 0 damage, but it freezes the thing solid.
Ooh.
And now it is Matson's turn to act.
Asteria, be careful.
Don't worry. I can handle myself.
My bloodletter technique, am I close enough to the active one that I can run over to it and perform this action?
Depending on your roll.
That's a 9.
You get close enough to strike, but your bloodletting will not be active on this.
Close for the strike. 3.
You hit that worm for 3 damage. It hisses in a grotesque way. It's like it's gargling and hissing at the same time. No one likes it. But it is that worm's turn to strike back. It strikes Matsun instinctively for 2 damage of its own by thrashing its head against your body. It is Adeline's turn to attack. She is right next to this active worm as well.
Adeline just instinctively tumbles backwards and just like draws her bow and arrow and of course aims for its head because that's what you do.
Yeah.
That's a 12 and a 1.
When you roll backwards, you actually roll up one side of the ramped broken table. You didn't realize it was behind you, but you gain higher ground, but then it slinks over and teeter-totters down, which throws off your hit, thus only glancing the worm's head for 1 damage. And Asteria gets to perform.
I take out my tonfa and I go to swing at the ice one to destroy it. 15 and 4.
The icy worm shatters into disgusting snow dust in front of you, causing Hank, your bird, to bite at the air to enjoy the delicious worm guts that are in the air.
Earthworm snowstorm?
The taste of the powder incites Hank, and he charges at the remaining worm, but charges right past it. And loses his balance and sort of wipes out on the stairs, and then looks at Asteria sadly. It's Junk's turn again.
Junk spins around. He sees the one existing worm right next to Matsun, and he is going to rush at it, except this time overhand, as to not accidentally, hit Matsun. And that's a 5 accuracy. For 5.
You glance off the worm for 3. It is still wiggling. Orny now runs at the existing worm. Orny's doing great. He rolled a natural 20 and also critical hit. So he just hit this thing for 24 damage with his cudgel. He goes, "Wachow!" And the worm falls over, and the severed part of it flips in the air and then lands perfectly in Hank's mouth. So it did exactly what Orny wanted it to do. And Hank just gobbles it up and enjoys the delicious treat that he was given.
Well, that was fantastic, guys.
I don't feel like we're any closer to this hand of Almone.
Definitely not.
So at this point, the party searched the main floor of this temple for a little while. Behind the altar, they found some interesting-looking masks.
Half of the face looks like a beautiful woman, and the other half is red and demonic.
One of which Asteria takes with her. They also discover an area in which a great portrait once hung, but whoever took it did so a very, very long time ago. Then after some more meandering on the main level, we finally began our venture down the giant center staircase that leads downstairs.
Nothing bad ever happens underground.
Asteria starts hypnotically walking down the stairs, holding the mask still in her hand.
I run up and catch up to her. Asteria, before we encounter anything else, this blood magic I now carry, does it show favor? Favor to good or to evil?
I believe all magic has both and needs both to exist. Just like the blood in our veins, we all have the capacity for anything. Good, evil, it's all connected to you.
Do you feel a connection?
Asteria is still walking, responds without looking at Matsun. I am always connected to everything. I believe that.
And I just nod.
Asteria gets a little self-conscious, and she looks like she's in her head now, quickens her pace, and starts going downstairs. And I want to see what I see downstairs. That's a 20. What do I see?
As you walk downstairs, you see on either side of the stairs are 2 large candelabras with big iron bases. They are light enough to be picked up and moved, but they are heavy enough to be weighty. Beyond that, there are 10 floor tiles in front of a big closed stone circle door. The tiles have simple images. They are in 2 rows of 5. The front row displays left to right, fire, ant, coin, squirrel, fire. And the back row rabbit, flower, coin, flower, ant.
Junk, I got an idea.
Yeah?
Grab hold of that candelabra. Adeline, will you come help me with this one?
Yes.
Junk walks over, following Matson's instructions towards the opposite candelabra.
Adeline helps Matson.
Junk, follow my lead. And we take the one candelabra and I place it on top of the one fire tile.
So everyone needs to roll for defense.
9.
17.
7 for Junk.
I got an 18.
Jets of fire shoot out from the wall and scald Junk for 2 damage.
Hey, what the hell, man?
No!
Take that off of there!
No! Are you all right?
My hat didn't get burned, did it?
No,
No,
it's okay.
It's fine.
Are you okay?
Yeah, that's my first time I've been being burned. I'm more concerned about my hat.
We need to be more careful.
All right. Sorry, you're right.
Well, now we know fire comes from the firestone, so maybe rabbits come from the rabbit one.
We need to think this through.
That's better advice.
Okay, well, don't put anything on those fire buttons, please.
Got it.
And Junk is sort of holding the candelabra like almost like he's threatening Matson, like, don't do that again, I'm going to hit you with this thing.
What will be the least threatening thing if we press it and it appears?
The only things that aren't repeated are the rabbit and the squirrel.
All right. I want to sort of crouch and place my foot very carefully on the rabbit tile. Everyone stand back.
When Asteria does this, a very satisfying click happens towards the giant circular stone door.
I place both feet on it.
Adeline walks to the squirrel stone and puts her foot on that.
When Adeline steps her foot on the squirrel stone, you hear a noise that to you tells you whatever just happened in a positive way was just undone.
All right, step off very carefully.
Adeline very carefully removes her foot.
The affirmative click noise returns.
All right, let's think this through. Maybe it has to be together. Maybe it's pressure and it has to be timed perfectly. Let's see. And I want to step off the rabbit tile.
When you step off the rabbit tile, you hear again like the undoing of the click noise, and the rabbit tile returns to its original position.
Okay, so shall we, Adeline?
Adeline looks at Asteria and gives her all right, countdown.
3, 2. Oh wait, are we going on 1 or after 1?
Let's go on 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great.
3, 2, 1.
You guys both step on the tiles, and as if there's like a weight mechanism attached to both of them, stepping on both at the same time results in neither button being pushed.
Okay, so rabbit good, squirrel bad right now.
Right. Okay.
Rabbit good. Squirrel bad. All right. I want to grab a candelabra and hand it to Asteria so she doesn't have to stand there the whole time. Here, take this.
Oh, thank you.
When Asteria puts the candelabra on the rabbit tile, it again is pushed down and the affirmative click occurs again.
Any other ideas?
What else do we know? Well, Rossa has 2 faces, just like a coin. Maybe the coins are the key to the puzzle.
2 sides of a coin.
Only one way to find out.
Junk is still holding the candelabra.
No, you've already been burned once.
I'll do it. It was my fault you got burned.
It's very kind of you, Matson, but please, I got this.
And Junk, denying Matson's assistance, although appreciative, very slowly places the candelabra down on the forwardmost coin, the one closest to us.
Everyone roll for damage.
10 for Junk.
6 for Asteria.
6 for Matson.
7.
All 3 of you, except for Junk, take a gold barb to your body that shoots out from one of the holes in the wall for 2 damage.
Junk immediately lifts the candelabra up.
Ow!
All right, that wasn't the right one.
Asteria picks the barb out from her side. Okay. Next one.
Well, there's another coin.
I don't think I want to put anything on a coin at this point.
So this went on for a very, very, very long time. The party was less than impressive in solving this puzzle. They tried stepping on both ants simultaneously and neither moved, so they opted for just one and it clicked. So with 2 switches down, the squirrel and one of the 2 ant switches, Asteria attempted to add one of the flower switches to the mix. And Junk found himself struck by a poison dart because of it. That cost Orny one of his cure condition potions to ensure the big green guy didn't die.
Well, that feels really good, Orny. You have any more of those?
Yes, but you don't need to take any more.
Oh, all right.
After that, the party attempted the second coin, and Orny and Junk caught those gold barbs to the gut again. Boy, did we get frustrated.
Is it strange of me to think that buttons might do different things now that more buttons have been pressed?
You've gotta be kidding me.
I really hate this room.
In frustration, Asteria leaped back onto the previously tried squirrel, and...
When Asteria steps on the squirrel, another affirmative click.
Okay.
I must say, I do love that sound.
Now with the rabbit, an ant, and the squirrel all depressed in that order, Asteria suggested we try the remaining ant tile once more, because why not? And to our delight...
When you set the candelabra down on the second ant tile, there is that familiar, affirming click. More so, a chorus of clicks that indicate an intricate mechanism unlocking. Finally, the circular door rolls open.
Oh, thank goodness.
We did it.
Bloody hell.
What? You know what I just realized?
What?
Rabbit, ant, squirrel, ant. Rasa.
I should have guessed.
Let's go. I've had enough of this room.
The door has opened up to another well-illuminated room. It is supported by 4 evenly spaced pillars. On the opposite wall from the door is a large golden statue of Rasa. Beautiful and terrifying, her outstretched palms face the ceiling, ready to accept her followers' offerings. In front of her, a large spike sticks up out of the ground, surrounded in carved grooves for some sort of ceremony. And to your left and right, a pair of bejeweled human skeletons sit in dusty thrones.
So Junk slowly starts walking in along the left-hand side, and he walks towards the skeleton sitting in the throne.
There is something written, carved into the stone above the skeleton, but it's completely covered in dust.
Junk blows off the dust.
In old world common tongue that's still close enough to modern common tongue that you can still read it. It's sort of like looking at Old English. It says, "Here was crowned Listor."
This looks like it might have been a king at some point.
Perhaps. What's the name on that?
Listor.
Oh.
Has anyone heard of Listor?
I have not. I'm not from these parts.
Can I do a knowledge check?
Sure.
3.
You will also have not heard of Listor before.
I'm going to do a quick knowledge check. 7 + 1.
Asteria's general knowledge from just being a citizen of King's Promise aids her in this role. Listor was a king of Misty Cross back when it was a separate governance from Norrance. He was also a powerful blood mage, eventually overthrown by the king of Norrance.
Listor, he was a very, very powerful blood mage. He was a king. Asteria walks closer, her eyes never leaving the statue of Rasa.
Well, now he's just a skeleton.
For now, as Adeline begins to approach the opposite throne.
It's similarly dusty.
So I too blow off the dust.
Adeline, you are able to read on this throne, "Here was crowned Almone."
This king's name is Almone.
The one we're looking for, right?
Asteria knows that Almone was actually King Listor's daughter. She was a princess and a blood mage in her own right. Further, Almone was a devout priestess to the demon goddess Rasa. When Adeline investigates her skeleton, it's clear that one hand is missing.
If we're here for the hand of Almone, then we better hope it's the one she still has.
Doubtful. It must have been the king's men. They brought the girl here and they took the hand with them.
Was this whole thing a waste of time?
Asteria is now at the foot of the golden goddess, kneeling, talking to herself very softly.
Hey, Matson, what's your girlfriend doing?
I don't know. Matson walks over to her. Asteria, what are you doing?
Asteria doesn't answer. She continues talking to herself melodically, like a prayer, as she's fighting back tears.
Asteria, is something wrong?
It's more beautiful than I could have ever imagined.
The statue?
My mother used to talk about this place constantly.
What did she say about it?
You won't judge me, right?
There's so much I could be judged for. No, there's no way I could judge you.
Thank you. My mother was a follower. That's how she died.
That's how she died? What do you mean? How did she die?
She was trying to work a spell, and it killed her. She couldn't do it on her own. She's starting to clasp her fists tighter around the dagger she still has in her hand.
And I kind of look over at Adeline and give her a worrying look.
Adeline acknowledges your look and equally is concerned and kind of also approaches.
I'm slowly reaching for my dagger, perhaps. Just one.
Junk at this point is flicking the skeleton, just playing with it.
Asteria, what was the spell your mother was trying to do?
She believed it was time. Time for Rosa's resurrection. It was time she reunited with this land and restored order. To rule with my mother by her side.
Junk takes notice that she's getting a little loud. What's going on, guys? And is slowly walking towards her.
Matson reaches out and puts his hand on Asteria's back.
As you do this, you again experience that familiar feeling of a ghostly presence. This time, the spirit physically takes a hold of you and forces you away from Asteria, an overwhelming outcry of caution.
No, not now.
I loved my mother. More than I loved anyone. Please forgive me. And then Asteria turns and gestures to Hank, beckoning him.
Hank runs beside Asteria and backs her at the ready. All of his plumage is standing threateningly on end.
You have to understand. You do, don't you? I have to do this, just like you have to find that little girl.
You have to do what?
Asteria, stop what you're doing and let's discuss this, as Adeline discreetly pulls an arrow out of her quiver.
I'm bringing peace back to the land. There needs to be order again. It will all be right once this is over. And I charge at Junk.
Roll for initiative.
Nat 20 for Asteria.
Adeline also rolls a natural 20.
17 for Matson.
And a 6 for Junk.
So, even though Adeline was at the ready, Asteria's explosive charge takes you all by surprise. Asteria, you are up first.
Asteria leaves behind a book, which she was hiding at the feet of Rosa. As she charges, she flips her cloak swiftly behind her, revealing a rope in her hands, in which she attempts to wrap around Junk. It's an 8.
She is able to get rope around Junk, but she certainly does not have him secured in any great fashion. It's more of like she put a boa around him, but it's a rope, and pulled him close to her.
What are you doing, Asteria?
A sacrifice must be made!
Get this rope off of me.
Adeline is next.
So, considering what's happening, but also feeling conflicted because we trusted her and I'm unsure of what her aim is here, I do take aim at her, but I aim for her leg, something to just incapacitate her.
Sure.
That's a 10 with 4 damage.
Adeline's arrow sails through the air and strikes Asteria in the leg. Due to an aura emitted from Asteria, it does a diminished 2 damage. Also, due to the deer tick ring that Asteria is wearing, she is completely healed from the trials in the puzzle room.
Asteria, I understand what it's like to lose family, but if there's anything I've learned, it's that family doesn't have to be blood. I know we're new to your life, but we care about you. Your mother may be gone, but we're living.
As you're saying we're living, perhaps ironically, the 2 skeletons that were seated on their thrones stand up, hold their hands out, glowing with this red energy. The first one is Almone. She strikes with a telekinetic shot that blasts Adeline backwards for 4 damage.
Adeline! Oh, come on, Asteria. What the hell? I thought we were pals. We got hats and everything.
As Junk still sort of fights with the rope.
With Adeline downed, the second skeleton, Listor, force pushes with both hands against Matson, knocking him hard to the ground for 5 damage.
Please, if you all just stop fighting, this would be over sooner. Please, Matson, Adeline, please, just go back. She immediately turns her attention back towards Junk.
It is Matson's turn to act next.
Asteria, you don't have to do this. And I set up my jackknife attack against Asteria.
Matson becomes one with the shadows, making himself scarce so that he can later ambush Asteria. Now it is Orny's turn to attack. Orny pulls out his remaining potion of blistering death. He is going for the kill, and he throws this potion at Asteria. It shatters on contact with Asteria, and immediately her skin starts to bubble with boils. These boils will take a continuing damage to her of -2 damage every turn, enough to negate the ring that you're wearing's effect.
You can throw your worst at me, But it's far too late. The reunion will be done.
Now, Hank, protecting his mother, rears back and charges. He hits Junk with his beaked head for 4 damage. The blow knocks Junk down to the ground, narrowly missing the spire protruding from the carved stone floor.
This is a nightmarish sight to me.
It's Junk's turn to act. The blow to the ground has loosed Junk from Asteria's rope, but you're still on the ground looking up at this enraged terror bird that is nearly straddling you.
So as Junk is laying there looking up at Hank, for a brief moment, he contemplates referring to his bird book, but decides that maybe that's not the best use of his time right now, and instead just says, "I'm really sorry about this, buddy," and then is going to lunge upward with all of his might with his warhammer in hand.
Give me a clumsy check before your accuracy.
4.
When you swing your hammer up, it slips from your fingers, flies up, and gets wedged into a tile in the ceiling.
Is that the end of my turn?
That is the end of your turn.
Damn.
Sorry, buddy.
Oh, Junk is pissed now.
It is Asteria's turn.
Asteria runs back towards the statue, cuts her hand again, and holds it up in front of her like she did back at the cemetery, and casts Blood Mist. Not very well. That's a 3.
Ooh.
Her hands are shaking and maybe cuts a little too deep, and you can see she breaks concentration because of it.
A mist of blood comes out from her hand, swirls around just the center of the room, which is exactly where Junk and Hank both are.
Oh.
This mist, however, does no damage. It swirls and then dissipates there in the center of the room. Adeline.
Adeline draws her bow and is going to attempt a pinning shot on Asteria. That would be a 4 for 4 damage.
Oh, the pinning shot itself fails, and you strike Asteria for just 2 damage in the leg. In Almone's attack, she very intentionally turns her attention to Junk. She telekinetically pushes you towards the spire, but you stand your ground, sliding backwards while taking 0 damage.
Yeah, it's going to take more than that to take me off my feet.
But then in Listor's attack, he pushes Junk even further, causing Junk's butt to come in contact with the very tip of the spike, pricking you for 1 damage.
Guys, I'm starting to think that this is personal.
Matson.
Well, it's time for me to do my jackknife. 7, 5, and 1.
You sneak up behind Asteria and make careful yet intentional shallow cuts in her shoulder blades for 6 damage.
And as I do this, I'm very not happy about it. I'm on the verge of tears.
Asteria throws her head back in agony and looks back at you, also tears streaming down her face. Watson, you mustn't stop this. This is my destiny. Don't you understand? And she turns back to the statue, hoping that you won't further injure her, because she's focused on just getting it done as quickly as possible now.
Orny withdraws his Politis of Fire Burst, chucks that now at Asteria from across the room. It makes good contact, exploding in fire for 9 damage.
Ooh.
She is singed and bleeding from her back, and she crawls to the altar, retrieving her bag. Ripping it open, she retrieves a dried flower she took from her mother's grave and lays it in the goddess maiden's hand. She winces at the pain she's in as she pulls out now a small nesting doll, which she places in the statue's other hand. She looks back at Matson. Please forgive me. And then looks up to Hank and gives him a nod.
On cue, Hank headbutts Junk with all of his might, causing Junk to fall backwards onto the central bloodletting spike. It rips right through his chest for 25 damage. It is
Junk!
No!
Killing shot. Blood spurts out from him and fills the grooves of the bloodletting symbol that he's on the ground. Immediately as this happens, Listor and Almone float over around him and start to spin and spiral very fast. So fast that they create this semblance of light. And if anyone tried to get in there, they'd probably be hit by splintering bones or the light force that is happening in there. None of you can reach Junk in this moment.
Head down to her chest, her bleeding palm upwards towards the spire. She places her clean hand on top, and she's praying again to herself, but very hurriedly. Rasa,
It is Adeline's turn.
Adeline is incredibly distraught at this moment and filled with passion. The hand she uses to draw back her arrow slowly wipes away the tears from her cheek as she aims at Asteria's praying hands.
That's smart.
13 and 6.
You hit her directly in her praying hands, cutting right through her ring finger. In fact, cutting her ring finger off that has a very special ring on it. And her finger flies off and is stuck to the ground next to where she's praying. And she does take the full 6 damage for that. It is now Matson's turn to act.
It didn't have to be this way, Asteria. And Matson lunges at her with his daggers. That's a 20 and a 4 and 2.
Whoa. Matson critical hits against Asteria, spinning towards her with tears flying from his eyes as he spins, cutting into her. 12 damage.
It slices across her chest and she falls to her knees, coughing up lots and lots and lots of blood. It doesn't matter. It's almost complete now.
The next stage of the ritual commences with the skeletons picking up speed. Round and round they fly, and the emanating light becomes blindingly white. On Orny's turn, he runs up and clocks Asteria in the back of the head with his cudgel, and he says, "Stop being evil!"
When Orny strikes me on the back of the head, through the tears, you see blood starting to pool.
I catch her before she falls.
Hank, enraged by the loss of his surrogate bird mom, turns his attention to Orny. He charges and headbutts the elderly little gnome, sending him hard into the stone wall for 4 damage. Gasping, Orny cries out, "Get big bird!" And Matson's turn is next.
I look at Asteria, dead in my arms.
Oh.
Longingly, one might say, full of grief. And I gently lay her down, and I turn around, and I look at Hank, and at first a blank expression, which changes to one that is full of anger and rage. And I yell at the top of my lungs, and I attack with both daggers.
With a fearlessness towards birds that he has never exemplified in his entire life, Matson jumps in the air and comes down on Hank, impaling him with one of his knives. With his second knife, he stabs Hank in the throat and rides all the way down his belly like he was tearing through a pirate ship sail. Hank's guts spill out onto the floor. He topples over, and the terror bird will terrorize no more.
Oh.
Immediately after this happens, the skeletal bones that were floating around Junk explode outwards and shatter against the walls. Adeline, Matson, and Orny all duck for cover, avoiding any damage from these splintering bones around them. Immediately, Orny runs over to Junk to check on his condition and summons Adeline and Matson over as well.
Adeline frantically runs over to Junk.
Also sprint over.
We only have a very, very small time to act, so I need to ask you to all help me right now.
Whatever you need.
Of course, whatever.
Orny pulls out his mortar and pestle and says, "Hand me that phoenix feather that she gave you."
I reach in and grab it and hand it over.
All right, great. The potent nettle, the potent charred nettle.
I hand him the strongest one.
And then he says, "The last ingredient is very important, and I can't be the one to administer it because I have unusual feelings about the situation that we're in right now. The last thing that we need is the tear from someone who is earnestly grieving the loss of Junk right now. And as much as it pains me to say this, and I really like the guy, I'm too shocked to be sad. You know, if it's not an earnest grieving tear, then it won't work. It has to be one that's really honest."
Take any of mine. Yes, please. What do I need to do? She wipes her hand and just holds it over toward the mortar and pestle.
Adeline's tears get added to the concoction, and he says, "Matson, if you have any as well, remember they have to be earnestly for Junk."
My tears aren't for Junk.
Noted. All right. And he starts muddling up this concoction. So while this is happening, there's a stone against stone tapping in the ears of Junk. Junk is floating in this pool of water on his back in a dark black space. Beneath the water, it's like it's in an illuminated white bowl. Above the water where it's dry, blackness. Beneath the water where it's wet, whiteness. And laying there in this pool, he hears an unusual voice, a voice that he's never heard before in his life.
"Oh, hello, beast.
Where am I?
Why, you're in my realm.
Who are you? What happened to me?
Oh, you're quite dead. And I am Rasa.
Oh. Yeah, we solved your puzzle. It was so stupid.
Yes, my acolytes are not always the most creative.
What do you want with me?
Well, the thing about acolytes is they don't always follow your orders in the way you had intended them to be followed. I was looking for a sacrifice, yes, but I was looking for the sacrifice of a full organ. Your half organ. I suppose you could suffice. Yes, I do have an interest in you.
Yeah, most people do. Why can't I move?
Because you are quite dead.
Oh, you said that, didn't you?
Yes. I am looking for a beast to serve me. The organs, they are more beast than man.
Yeah, I know.
The beasts are my most favored of followers, and you are half beast.
Yeah, so what are you saying? I don't make the cut?
No, I'm saying you do make the cut, Junk. I want you to be one of my followers.
Yeah, following is not really a strong suit of mine.
Do you hear that tapping sound?
Yeah, it's irritating.
That is your friends. They are trying in vain to bring you back to life right now. They will fail. There is no potion to bring someone back from the sacrifice of which you've just become. The only way for you to return to the land of the living is by my hand.
I want to roll for a intimidation.
You know what? I think that you're bluffing, and I think that my friends will succeed in bringing me back, and I don't think that I need to worry about you because, you know what? We've dealt with worse.
6.
Well, that's a lot of faith you have in a feckless little girl, a withered old fool, and a man who cares so little for you that, as we speak, he cannot produce a single tear in your honor. I don't know why you question the circumstance in which you're in. Being my follower is a great honor. You will wield my power and be a god among men. You could make your friends bow to you if you wish.
Can I roll for a sense motive?
Yeah, sense motive.
Critical failure.
Because of the sudden depression that Junk feels, this does seem like that this is the end of the line. It is either follow this exactly what this demoness has to say, or death.
Junk feels the peace of his surroundings. The clacking of the mortar and pestle is becoming sort of hypnotic. And as Junk starts to, for the first time, really honestly fear death, he says,
Okay, whatever you want. Just bring me back to my friends.
And so it is done.
This warm heat comes to the back of Junk's neck.
Open your eyes.
My eyes are open.
No, my beast. Open your eyes.
Junk's eyes open, and you are exactly where you last remember being, impaled by the sacrificial spike. You can reach up and grab the tip of the spike in order to pull yourself off of it. Your companions do not see you do this, however. They are facing away from you, watching intently as Orny works to complete his potion.
That's it. Oh, almost done. All right. There we go. And we just need to serve it to him.
And then they turn to see you with this giant hole still in your chest, but you seem fine. In fact, all of your HP has returned, but you still have this hole in your chest for the moment.
Junk!
Junk, oh my god. Adeline runs over and gives him a hug.
Orny, what's happening?
And I am impacted by Adeline's hug, pat her on the shoulder.
It's okay. It's all right, Addie.
Did it work?
I didn't administer the potion to him. And Orny sort of gives you a weird look, and he walks all the way around you. When he looks at the back of your neck, he notices that it has been branded with the very same mark that decorates the chest of Ross's statue. It resembles an oak tree. However, in the place of its roots are entangled snakes.
I sort of reach back, assuming that he's looking at something the way you can feel somebody's eyes on you.
Yeah.
And I sort of feel for the mark, and I look over at Matson.
Seems like you're not the only person who's indebted to something unholy.
And then I look over at Orny, back at Adeline.
Is my hat okay?
Is it okay?
It's fine.
Well, I guess that does it for this real saga of an episode.
Yeah, it
It was
really
a
was.
roller coaster.
What the fuck, Asteria?
Hi!
Remember when you were our friend?
In my defense, I'm sorry I killed you. And also, not once did any of you ever deception check, sense motive, ask further into my weird family life.
It's because Matson was so smitten with you.
Yeah.
I know I was trying to drop so many hints, but
Yeah.
it just... I hope I guided you a little bit
Wow.
towards your futures.
Well, thank you so much, Gina, for joining us and for trying to kill me and succeeding in killing me.
You're
I feel
phenomenal.
quite proud. This is the first time I've died in a game, so
Yeah.
at
Ooh.
least for D&D.
And I murdered you.
You murdered me.
Yeah, you were great.
Yeah, you're
Absolutely
phenomenal,
epic story.
Gina.
Epic job. You did absolutely fantastic. We will definitely be having you back in a future campaign, hopefully, because you were
Yes.
just absolutely
Hopefully,
great. We
I
loved
don't turn on you this time.
you. Well, that's a two-way street. Make sure that you are following Gina on Twitter and on Twitch at Pocket Gina and on Instagram at Kitty Hawk. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The business, if you're enjoying the show, I urge you, please check out D&DW Pod for more information, as well as click the contact button and write us an email. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us what we did terribly wrong and what we did right. Tell us your opinions on D&D and playing and just stories, and we will share them at our roundtables and get back to you. Also, make sure you're following at D&DW Pod on all social media, and make sure you're using hashtag D&DW Pod when you're sharing this with friends, which we hope that you do. In addition to all of that fun stuff, the Dragon Wagon shop is officially open. That is right. There's some great Dungeons and Dragon Wagon merchandise in the Dragon Wagon Radio shop. You can get some shirts, some mugs that'll all really helps us out. And you get to, tout your love of the podcast. So check out dragonwagonradio.com/shop and get your dragon swag on. And the very last piece of business, of course, if you're enjoying this show or any show on the Dragon Wagon Radio Podcast Network, I urge you to check out dragonwagonradio.com/support. There are a few different ways that you can show your support via direct donations, or you can buy us something off of our Amazon wishlist and have it shipped right here to the Dragon's Den. There are things both big and small, from expensive microphones to small items like coffee and toilet paper, so our guests are well-fueled and well-wiped. Please consider showing your support. And a very special thank you to Jim Fitzpatrick and Anthony Stanton, who did just that this week. Thanks, guys. This has been an adventure. Gina, thanks again so much. Say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.
Matthew Hinksman,
Take care.
Alexandra Hoy,
So long.
Paul Bianchi.
Goodbye.
My name is Jake Lloyd, and we will see you next quest.
It's Dragon Wagon.
The voice for Rasa in this week's episode was provided by Veronica Wiley. Thanks, Veronica, for coming in and replacing Paul's voice with something that's not Paul's voice. Follow Veronica on Instagram at VJ Wiley. That's VJWYLIE.
So it seems like this, what did I just call it? I'm getting tired. What did I just call it? Automotive. What the fuck is the word?
Ultimatum.
Thank you. I can't speak anymore.
All tomatoes.
Ultimatums.